like trying to explain color to somebody who's never seen it. Like, how do you explain the color red to somebody, or better yet, purple? It was just like, it was a vibe that was always in me as well. But Denise just kind of like lived that vibe. It wasn't just sometimes I'm in this good mood. Denise was that mood, you know what I'm saying? For me at least.
Everyone has a story. The story of the birth of Purple Days begins in Rochester, New York, at Genesee Hospital. Denise Reese, the founder of Purple Days, was born here, but the facility of her birth has since been knocked down.
We are currently outside of the grounds, which used to be Genesee Hospital. This is my birthplace. This is where it all began, 4 weeks old.
At just 4 weeks old, Denise was fully immersed into what she refers to as a cult-like church experience. At first, due to the frankness of her tone, I took this as a joke. But after reading the definition of the word and learning a bit more about Denise's experiences within this church, I could not agree with her more.
Mom brought me here from 4 weeks old. This is where I grew up. I remember being small enough to stand up underneath waiting to get into the car. I literally grew up in this place. Vacation Bible school in this parking lot, hosting car washes. This was our existence. If we came here Tuesday night was prayer, Wednesday night, Friday night, early Sunday morning, all day Sunday, we had choir rehearsals all the time. We had a certain dress code. We had to wear hosiery and skirts. We couldn't go to certain movies. We couldn't go to dances at school. We had youth outings. We would go to like Christian skate nights and stuff like that. Basically, my upbringing revolved around a church. Eat, sleep, drink, this place.
Not at all lost on the meaning of these experiences, Denise attributes some of her early inspirations in music to being drawn directly from experiences right within these walls.
A black woman playing the guitar for the first time right here in this building.
That inspiration to create music became motivation when Denise began her school years attending David B. Crane Primary School.
I met a lot of cool teachers here, built a lot of dope relationships with those folks here. How I learned everything is interconnected. My art teacher was dope here. I had dope art. We used to do a lot of pottery type things. I remember making candles out of melted crayons and going to the different buckets and dipping the wicks, and just a lot of dope hands-on experiences from an early age. This is the cafeteria right here, the cafetoria. I used to perform in there, singing in the choir, playing the violin, playing in the orchestra. Between school and church, it was just music, music, music. My elementary school teacher was actually the music teacher to the music director of my church. So music just intertwined both of my worlds.
Oh, so much. You got me out of my shell when I lived at the group home. At the time I first met Denise, I did not have my driver's license. I didn't think I was going to ever get my driver's license. I never thought I was going to get out of the group home. She got me to be more in tune with myself, made me a better guitar player. Now I have my own apartment and I have a car. It's made me an all-around better person.
Honestly, the impact Denise Reese had on my life was she showed me that I could have the dream that I always wanted to have.
Denise's plethora of experiences in her school years undoubtedly showed up in her community works throughout the city of Rochester later on. One might even draw the conclusion that her experiences at this next stop contributed to her strides to make other people feel not only accepted, but understood.
I left in the middle of second grade from Crane Elementary School to go to St. Monica's. St. Monica's was wild. The children here were just verbally abused a lot. Like, it was the first time I actually got cussed out by a teacher. That was just the first time I ever experienced anything like that. I'm like, what is going on? I couldn't see the blackboard that well, so that's when we discovered I needed glasses, because I was getting in trouble and getting yelled at because I couldn't fully see and I wasn't completing the assignment. I will never forget this experience. Everything you experience is a part of who you are and what, makes you you and makes your world what it is.
Early observations of classism within her short stint in inner-city schools stuck with Denise, fueling in her a want to create interactive, hands-on creative experiences for all children.
Just seeing the difference in the teachers and staffing, how they were acting in St. Monica's School versus Crane Elementary School, it was just like, whoa, night and day. So I took in that experience. So then as I became an adult and started working with students and stuff, it's like I remember my time being in a school where the staff didn't really care. Just here to get a paycheck and treating children like crap. When I jumped into the school system myself and working, it's just like I'm not going to be that staff member.
In 1992, experiencing her first death in the family, paired with one of her family's regular visits to the Strong National Museum, turned out to be a recipe for disaster, for not only Denise's mental health, but for her physical sense of well-being. This incident would affect her for years to come.
So in going into this exhibit, I remember everybody asking, like, are you going to be okay with this? You don't even like to ride past the graveyard. It's just like, I know, I duck down when we drive past the graveyard. So it's just like, okay, can I handle this? I was like, no, I think I'll be okay. I'm a trooper. We walk in, the first thing was a body bag. So we start walking, and then I remember looking to my left, and down at the end of the hall of this whole exhibit, they had a gold casket with red interior. The casket was open, it was gold, it was on the stand and everything, and I just looked and I just remember just something just wasn't right, and I instantly had pain in my eyes, and I'm like, something's going on, like I don't feel right, and I just remember the rest of that day just not being able to handle light, and just it was the beginning of a long journey.
Solely seeking care from Western medical doctors, Denise's mum took her to specialist after specialist, who all had their own theories on what was happening, without regard to Denise's unique personal experience, with what was later diagnosed as uveitis iritis. These so-called doctors had nothing to offer Denise as treatment, except drugs.
This was something they hadn't seen before. They went from saying my body's rejecting my eyes to I'm allergic to my own eyes. It's all these wild diagnoses that they were coming up with.
The choice to take drugs was made for Denise before she fully understood what that meant and what the side effects would be. From medicated eye drops to large doses of steroids, folic acids, and methotrexate, her body was forced into major changes. Side effects from these drugs ranged from extreme weight gain to violent mood swings.
By 7th grade, I was doing eye drops and taking large doses of all of these pills, and it just had my body all out of whack. I was swelling up from the prednisone. I was emotional because it just affects everything. Like when you're taking pills, you're trying to isolate and focus on one area, but that's not the case. It affects your whole being because you're absorbing it. It's going through your whole system. So I had a lot going on, and I had to be homeschooled in 7th grade. Music was my only thing I had. I couldn't sit and watch TV because light affected my eyes. So I was literally in darkness for like a whole year. Music was a great escape of just being able to listen to different stuff and even mess around with the keyboard a little bit, try to play along with different songs. Soundtracks I had, listen to all sorts of music.
The side effects of the drugs being administered led Denise to finding help and a friend in Dr. Susan Pressburg Green at Rochester Eye Center. Out of all of the specialists Denise had seen, Pressburg Green was the only doctor who took their knowledge of medical science and integrated it with the importance of personal experience and knowledge of one's own body.
After seeing rheumatoid arthritis specialists and eye specialists, just a whole slew of doctors, and we finally get to Dr. Pressburg Green. Dr. Pressburg Green's approach to treating me was listening to me, how I noticed when I was going to have a flare-up, not just going off of science and what her books had told her. We were in the doctor's office a lot, and Dr. Pressburg Green was awesome. She ended up stopped charging me and would come in whenever I needed her. So we became family, and finally the beginning of healing and getting some closure on what was happening.
Now, it was time for Denise to take on high school, and boy did she take it on. Despite dealing with body image pressures, Denise seized every opportunity to fully soak in her high school experience.
By the time I got to high school, I was in the chorus, I was taking piano, and I also joined the concert band, which was also marching band. So I was doing percussion, and that mainly focusing on like xylophones, marimbas, vibraphones, little timpani, and a chime. Like percussion, just fun stuff, good times. I had my little xylophone solos and concert band. played bass drum in marching band, played at the football games, even played some sports in high school, basketball and lacrosse.
Between all of Denise's extracurricular activities, she and her brother began the formation of a family band that started out with just the two of them. This transformed her budding musical curiosity into a blooming passion that would stick with her long after her primary school years ended. After high school, Denise worked countless jobs, holding many different titles throughout the city of Rochester. From aerobics instructor, to soccer coach, to nurse, to phlebotomist, Denise expresses a deep appreciation for the experiences that came with every position she's held. But when I asked her which position stuck out most in her mind when considering the birth of Purple Days, without hesitation, she told me that her jobs that involved working with the youth of the city of Rochester contributed the most. As it turns out, the initial idea of having a Purple Day was gifted to Denise by Miss Easton of the Mary McLeod Bethune School.
Before this, I had already been working with the youth. I had coached t-ball, soccer, and stuff like that. The Baden Street after-school program just fell in line with what I was already doing. When the opportunity came to start an after-school program at 45 School, that's when I started building a rapport with the children that would come to the after-school program. Baden Street doing their after-school program, and then I would do their summer program. And then when we moved to 45 School, it's the same thing. We just brought that same energy of the after-school program. I would bring in my guitar, I would bring in my laptop and different music dance and have little dance parties and stuff. And just being that safe person, that safe space where they can come and express and be children and just get their homework done, have a hot meal, get some exercise, learn something new, work out problems they have amongst each other, and then whatever other family stuff, being there for them, just being a listening ear. And then I found out that there was a position in one of the kindergarten classrooms, so I applied to that and got in to be a one-on-one for one of the on the spectrum students in the kindergarten classroom where I learned about Purple Days. It was just amazing being able to connect with their little minds and hearts. The teacher at 45 School, Purple Days, that was her tool she used as a behavioral chart to help the children stay on task. That was just awesome. Purple was my favorite color. Here I'm in this classroom working with children on the spectrum. I have one that I'm focusing on, but then I'm connecting with everybody in the classroom. Who cares that these children think differently, respond different? Like that's how that all started coming together. Like, who says they're wrong because they can't handle certain lights and noises or smell? Who says they're wrong for wanting to be in the world like that? Who says we're right and they are capable of learning? Let's stop putting folks in boxes and saying they can't do this and can't be this and can't, no. Those children strive to have a Purple Day. I adapted it to other things.
It would be years before Denise Reese's definition of Purple Days came into fruition. But in the meantime, despite her best efforts to remain unseen, Denise was inspiring a generation. Playing gigs at various venues around her hometown with her family band, Denise began her ascension into the world of free expression through music. And the city of Rochester was listening.
We saw her playing live and I was just like, oh my God, girl guitar player. She's killing it. We were so tiny. Black August was up there and we were just dancing with Denise. So she was going wailing on her guitar solos and everything. She's a huge inspiration because she made it okay to see not in a bad way, but a weird black girl on stage doing events, not just school stuff, but actually on stage in front being unapologetically herself, and that just kind of gave me the confidence for when I wanted to play out more, to have more confidence just to be myself. It's hard to see representation of ourselves, especially the alternative vibe that we have. It's cool to have somebody up on stage, even not even on stage, just chilling and talking to us and being very approachable. Plus, also being LGBTQ, she just gave me a huge inspiration to just kind of be myself growing up, right? Not have to change to fit society, just kind of be myself. Exactly.
Seeing as Denise and her first band were so beloved, many may be surprised to know the level of adversity Denise faced in the infant stages of her artistic career, playing just about every venue in the local Rochester area with her then family band.
In my first band, in my family band in the town, we kind of had to break
through, like, and let people know, hey, we're here, and yeah, I might not know us. We're not from one of the popular churches in the town. It felt very pressure to play and be a certain way. Trying to play in the local club scene, it's always been, are you good enough, or are you a part of the crew who really does this? It's like, well, I really do this. I really have fun playing guitar and playing keys and playing violin, or playing whatever it is I'm gonna play, just to express myself.
Challenges from sound to politics left Denise with the desire to create a venue outside of the stationary venue she had played, where all of the city of Rochester would be welcome to express themselves.
I just really wanted this space where people can come together and share and care and express and just be okay, and have the sound system and the backing just so people can come and play. There's been so many venues that I've sat in to play, and I'm like, gosh, this could be a lot better if they had instruments already here and we can just get people to get in here and just jam and vibe and stuff. So it's just like, why don't I build that on this bus and take this to different neighborhoods where some people can't get to the open mics at the clubs. Either they're not old enough, or their church would frown upon it because it's considered a juke joint or something.
Soon after conceiving the true meaning of Purple Days, Denise birthed the Purple Days movement by successfully creating a safe space for purple people. A 1982 Bluebird school bus, which Denise converted into a live music venue and recording studio, would soon become the first ever mobile live arts venue known to the city of Rochester, the Purple Bus, which quickly became so much more for Rochester, New York than Denise had initially imagined.
Well, here's a way to just get out of the box and be able to allow folks to be able to come on there and play drums because they always wanted to, or play keys because they always wanted to, or the bass, or sing, or get up there and tell jokes because they always wanted to do stand-up comedy. That was it. I'm sure I cried several times, like, oh my God, this is really happening. We're having a jam session on the bus, or we're having a party, we're having a vibe. I go to the back, there's people freestyling and chilling, and come up front, there's a sister circle happening. In the middle, there's people reminiscing on times in Rochester, parked in different areas of the city, on different bridges, behind different clubs, downtown. Whenever you spotted the bus and you was just like, hey, let me get my purple vibes real quick. And it's like, come on in. The Purple Bus was the people's bus. I had a couple different summer camps that I pulled the bus up to, and that was amazing. The children were just great. They got on there, they learned the Purple Days song, they came up with their own version. This one little boy, I remember he was harmonizing and turning it into a gospel choir piece real quick, and it was just amazing to see them adapt the song to their own and hear stories from their parents when I finally would meet them, like, oh, you're the lady with the purple bus. My son just keep talking about the purple bus.
After touring her hometown with the Purple Bus, Denise began a cross-country tour in the pursuit of moving to her dream state of Arizona. Halfway through her pursuit, the Purple Bus broke down in Mississippi and would stay there for over a year due to a combination of a lack of funding and the prevalent racism, sexism, and homophobia. Through social media, Denise discovered an artist who would soon become the second half of Purple Day's first act, King NicK. After hearing Denise's story, King NicK sent Denise a plane ticket to continue her journey to Arizona. And on August 15, 2016, in Phoenix, Arizona, NicK and Six was born. Developing the artist collective band and lifestyle brand led to the creation of the Purple Days pop-up experience, a mobile art exhibition that feels much like the Purple Bus on a smaller scale. Since taking NicK and Six on tour, the movement has been across the US twice, to the Virgin Islands and to the UK. In the summer of 2019, the Purple Days movement brought NicK and Six and the pop-up experience to Rochester, New York, and was shown by the Rochester Police Department that free, gender and sexuality non-conforming African people are not welcome in the city of Rochester.
Purple Days pop-up experience still happens, even though the bus isn't part of the tool that is used, but I pop up with my band NicK and Six. We've been popping up from East Coast to West Coast. So when I come home to Rochester, there's a party in the park happening, and so we proceed to play. And Rochester police, like, straight harassed the out of us. I couldn't believe it. They tried to grab our equipment. They threatened to arrest us, threatened to ticket us, following us, and trying to incite some sort of chaos. We're exercising our freedom of speech. You know, we're battery powered. Like, the noise ordinance hasn't kicked in, so we're having a good time. And they proceeded to harass us and our crowds. I could not believe that this is what's happening now. The same downtown area where the purple bus was able to sit, where cops have pulled up before, like, hey, this is cool. And now these same RPD are threatening to throw me in jail and fine me for doing like exact same thing. I'm just like, whoa.
Harassment, stalking, and threats, including wrongful imprisonment, are what free GSNA artists receive from Rochester PD for exercising their freedom of speech. This stood out to me as another striking example of the classism that plagues the artist community of Rochester, New York. Based on the actions of Rochester's police force, it is acceptable to the city of Rochester that African artists express themselves, but only when sanctioned by white events or white funding. Denise Reese created countless Purple Days pop-up experiences in downtown Rochester, with the purple bus seen as an adornment of white-owned events that she was a part of. But when she decided to create a purple experience for the people, independent of those white events she was once a revered part of, the biggest gang in Rochester, the police department, wanted to arrest her.
The first time I pulled the purple bus up there, we parked the bus literally on the sidewalk. We didn't have no permit, nothing. The police was like, yeah, pull it right here. It was a part of a festival, the funding from the city. We're on the bill, but I'm that same person. I'm doing the same thing, sharing some love to my hometown. Never been harassed on that level when I had the bus, and I would be parked all over. Dewey, that side of town, shoot up Carter, in Irondequoit, I'll be down by the beach. I would be in my hometown, in my city, with the bus. Me just being a black woman, free, on the sidewalk, expressing myself with my battery-operated guitar amp and my guitar that was locally made. The local police want to fine me and throw me in jail. That's crazy. I can't believe it.
Such a stark display of the politics that prevail the arts community of the birthplace of Purple Days, Rochester, New York, provided a clear explanation as for the reason that Denise Reese has declared Phoenix, Arizona the home of the Purple Days movement since its founding. But regardless of its home, the Purple Days pop-up experience continues to spread the message of people, understanding, responsibilities for people's lives everywhere, around the world. People understanding responsibilities for people's lives everywhere. People understanding responsibilities for people's lives everywhere. People understanding responsibilities for people's lives everywhere.
When I first used to perform this song, I used to bust out crying because it's just so emotional for me. It's just so heart-wrenching. So when I see folks at the pop-up just come up like, yeah, like it's like a top 40 song, like, yeah, I'm feeling that. I'm like, whoa, like it's growing into this.
It's alright, it's okay, it's alright, it's alright, it's okay. You made it, you made it, you made it, you made it, you made it. It's alright, it's okay.
Telling everybody it's all right, it's okay. You made it, we made it. Like, whatever it is you've gone through, whatever life-altering situation, whatever, like, what the moment has happened, it happened, and guess what? You were able to say, what the like, you literally survived it. Like, you're okay. You're still here. So let's figure out what we're gonna do to keep going. So for folks to kind of get that out here when we play that out on the street, it's just been wow. Like, people are going to understand their responsibility for people's lives everywhere.
In conclusion of our documentation of the birth of Purple Days, we tracked down a few purple people of Rochester and asked them their thoughts on the Purple Days
I
movement.
met Denise Reese at a restaurant/club. She was about 15, 16-ish. My husband is a jazz musician, and he had a show there. And at the end of the show, we got bombarded by Denise and her cousins and her whole crew. And they just wanted to talk about music and how does he do this, and does he have any advice for them, and all that. They were just a ball of energy. Shortly after that, I heard them play, and we've been hanging tight ever since.
I met Denise Reese at a show. She was rocking out, and like from the first string, I was hooked, man.
Impact Purple Days has had in my life from start till now is inspiration. Honestly, Purple Days was something she came up with as like, at first it was an angry retort to just dealing with everybody in her life. But then after a while, like, she stopped and thought about it. And then it came to her one day. She was like, you know what? I'm gonna go back to how I was with my little kids. And she was like, Purple Days and all that. I laughed, I ain't gonna lie, I laughed it off. Like, you can't do grown people like that. She was like, you know what? The world needed. So she started doing it. And honestly, I saw the impact that she was having just by talking to some of the people about it. I was like, wow. I was like, well, this is a great opportunity to be a part of something bigger than yourself.
I would say on my life, it kept me inspired to keep hope alive. Sometimes it can actually rain and you'll find yourself stressed out, feel like you're the only person that really care, and the whole world is just so mean and ugly till you come across another light that actually spark yours back up and keep it pushing. You know what I mean? Good people help good people. Iron sharp as iron. I'm a purple person though. It's not even just a movement, it's a way of life. I believe it's actually simplified, so if you follow it, you're gonna be purple too.
Impactfully, I guess, just the example and the epitome of being free and being your true self. Specifically Purple Days, that whole vibe and the whole energy and the concept of it is something that I wanted to bring to my students in my school. So got permission from Denise Reese to do a Purple Club. They had their own chant, people, understanding, responsibility for people's lives everywhere.
People, understanding, responsibility for people's lives everywhere.
So they came up with a whole concept of chanting and dancing, but I was able to infuse a lot of different things and different concepts just from that alone. So I say it's impactful just because it's a movement. It's something that we need right now in our world right now.
Purple Bus, the first time I saw it, we were at MLK Park. And the first time I was like, oh my God, this is so dope. I can't wait to can I ever be on this bus? This is just so dope.
We're at end of June, got together and just being us on the Purple Bus writing that EP. That's like our first EP that had us playing shows and everything. So that was the best memory, just sitting there making those and just like vibing out.
Yo, so epic memory. It had to be it started at midnight. We got on the bus, we went to 3 different locations. Every location we stopped at, I swear to goodness, so many different kind of people came on. I'm talking about, you seen people that had scarves on, the people that had collars on. We sitting there vibing. In the bus, they had a full studio, TVs, everything on the bus, and she rocking out, have artists sitting there rhyming, people singing, rapping, vibe going, then stop, close the doors, go pull up to a whole nother spot. And I think that lasted about 4 or 5 in the morning, which we end up stopping at a cousin's studio, and we rocked out in the parking lot till everybody went home. Epic.
When I first saw the Purple Bus, because Denise had been working on it for a while, and installing a studio in here, and then first of all, just seeing it from the outside was amazing, and then going in and catching the vibe and just the whole concept of being able to pull up and just be our true authentic selves.
Denise's manifestation of the bus. Me and Denise is sitting here chilling. She just sit back there, she just sit up one day. She's like, you know what? I'm gonna get this bus. I'm gonna get this bus so I can touch the world. And it's gonna be purple. And I was like, no, it's not. She sat there and she's like, yeah, it's gonna happen. Then picked her guitar up and kept jamming like nothing happened. She didn't even say nothing. A week later, beep, beep, she pulled up with a bus. I'm like, oh, okay.
You guys keep being purple people, keep using your gifts, your skills, your abilities to make a difference in your family, in your community, in your